Hey, it's Caster, and this is my new series, We Need to Discuss, where I'll basically be doing discussion on recent events in various manga and theory crafting about said events. Today, we'll be discussing two things, Blackbeard and Elbaf. So, just be warned, spoilers ahead if you aren't caught up on the One Piece manga. For those of you that are, keep in mind that this is covering about the last 5 or so chapters. First things first, there's a pirate I need to talk to you about. Many of you probably don't know this, but as soon as Gear 5 was revealed, I made a TikTok that I knew for certain Blackbeard would get the moon fruit from Im and be the moon that rises alongside the sun. Now, I say all of this to say that a lot of people in the community are finally coming around to the idea that Blackbeard is the final villain, and there's several reasons why. Let's look at Binks' sake, or Binks' brew, whatever you prefer. The line, "If you lose your nerve, this breath could be your last, but if you just hold on, the morning sun will rise," is obviously a reference to Luffy, or rather, sun god Nika. But the following line, "For tomorrow night, the moon will also rise," could be taken to mean Blackbeard, who is the parallel to Luffy, will also ascend or awaken. Now, this is interesting because there's a long-standing theory of Blackbeard gaining 3 fruits, and a mythical moon god Zoan would fit perfectly for the man who doesn't sleep, especially considering he has the darkness Logia, and the moon only emerges when it's dark. But consider this, the moon controls tides. Additionally, quakes are also capable of controlling tides. So, with the moon fruit, Blackbeard could effectively control the land and sea. There's also the topic of Blackbeard's lineage that has now been presented to us. Obviously, many people theorize Blackbeard to be the son of Rox D. Zebek, but I heard a more interesting theory when discussing it with the BDA boys. What if Blackbeard's lineage is the rightful heir to the empty throne? I mean, we know that the D clan is the enemy of God, so we can assume that Im is the mirror to Nika, and is in fact a god. So, what if Blackbeard, the man who wants the world, is actually the man who was supposed to have it all along? I mean, it's absolutely poetic, isn't it? While we're here in Looney Land though, let's let that simmer for a second and ponder this. What if some of the D clan left to a place where no one could find them? A place so far, so remote, and so cold that you couldn't even sleep at night, or you would freeze to death. Then, generations later, the Promised One appears, warped, twisted, and evil. Yeah, I could definitely see this as the stage that Oda has been setting. Now let's circle back to Blackbeard being the final villain. I feel like this has always been obvious, and Im is just a red herring for Blackbeard's inevitable path. I mean, Blackbeard not only taking the empty throne and in turn the world, but also the final perfect fruit, it just sets everything up to end in the most climactic way possible. Now, aside from me ranting about possible what-ifs for the end of story Blackbeard, let's look at the facts. He has always been presented as a mirror to Luffy. He has a crew that he basically made incredibly powerful overnight. He has absolutely insane ambitions, and time again he has been shown to be an absolute master schemer, moving people and places and things like pieces on a chessboard only to strike when absolutely perfect. I mean, the dude might actually rival Vegapunk in terms of IQ. Powerful, intelligent, and crooked as they come, it seems like more people are beginning to see the light of Blackbeard being the final villain. Moving on, let's talk about Elbaf, and what I personally think is going to happen. To start, let's look at Usopp's reaction to Dory and Brogy's arrival on Egghead Island. He exclaims, "My masters." Now, at first glance, this is just a passing comment, but honestly, I believe that it's much deeper than that. So let me ask you, what does a master do to their student? They teach them and train them, of course. So, you see, we've known for a while, or at least very strongly believed, Usopp would get a massive power-up in Elbaf, probably Mjolnir. But here's the thing. Most of the crew is reaching, if not at, the apex of their power, at least in my perspective. Most of them have recently gotten a top tier power up, and the only thing they can do is master and refine it. Now keep that in mind, but also, it doesn't seem like there's a major conflict waiting in Elbaf. And with all these major events happening in the story, from Garp to Winter Island to Shanks and Kid and even Whole Cake, compounded with a world-shaking event taking place on Egghead, My thinking is this: what if Elbaf is a time skip to Laughtale and the final war? I mean, of course we get some exposition and we see the crew as they mastered their power-ups and reach their full potential. Now I know to some people this might be pretty disappointing, but just think about it. We see the giants, and for lack of a better word, we have a beach episode, and then come back to the crew fully refreshed and at max power. The world may be rocked by Blackbeard's agenda, wink wink, and we have Laughtale in the final war left. Especially if Oda is trying to stick to the timetable. Regardless though, circling back to the Masters, I think whether Elbaf is a time skip or as a whole arc, it will 100% serve as a massive boost for the crew and bring them to a point of readiness for the climax of the story. The Giants pulling up to retrieve the Straw Hats is a massive indicator in my opinion. Not that the Straw Hats are weak or even that Luffy will lose, but in the face of all of the Gorosei, I think they may need some time to reassess and grow with the recent power-ups, if they want to successfully take on these quite literal monsters. And of course, the last point that really drives this home is how the world receives Vegapunk's message. Whatever it is, it's said that it's something that will shake the world. There will definitely be time needed to adjust, and I think seeing the shift in the landscape will be a phenomenal experience for us as readers. Just a quick bonus point. I know it's on everyone's mind. Is Bonnie going to be the 10th crewmate? This is really just a question to answer in the comments, but I think there's more merit to Bonnie joining the crew than either Carrot or Yamato. So let me know in the comments. Do you think Bonnie is joining the crew? Yes or no? All of this being said, you already know the vibes. Leave a like if you liked the video, leave a comment, and let me know your thoughts. Do you agree, disagree, have your own theories, or even want to just say hi? And of course, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Peace.